Yep, let's see if they can do that. Volskaya Foundry, of course, a map that also features this global playstyle quite a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw perhaps another Dehaka, perhaps another ETC as a response here, you know, coming in from Hugo. Although Hugo is not really the type of player who likes to play the same heroes over and over again in one series, right? He's normally, like, I think there's one trait of his personality you could definitely find out by the way they draft, and that's him trying to be a little special sometimes. He very rarely goes for the same heroes twice, 3 times in a row, for example, so it wouldn't surprise me to see something else here.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me that much at all, but for now we're seeing the consistent Genji ban. Still, even after all this time, too scary, 5 of them for them to give Meng his Genji.
All right, there we go. Looks like the Genji is now banned out, and both teams have absolutely stellar Genji players. It looks like almost every Chinese team has 1 or 2 of those. Meng, of course, on the side of TheOne, Hape on the side of KT. Absolute ballers in that hero.
Here is the Phoenix coming in here for KT to start off with. Tried it last time, did some damage. Not enough, but a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Phoenix is still one of those jack of all trades, if you will. Like strong damage, good escapes.
Good wave clear.
Yeah, good wave clear, exactly. Fits on almost every single map in the game right now. And can you imagine like what Phoenix would be like if he still was in his original form after release? Oh my goodness.
That would be pretty scary, and I think he would be first pick every game even more than he is currently right now. So, would not surprise me at all. This looks familiar. Tyrael returns once again for KT, and they even bring out the Malfurion. Stealing that away this time because their Decade was stolen.
So now with that Malfurion, of course, you have outstanding AoE sustain, especially if you end up going for Tranquility. And on top of that, Tyrael shields, man, that used to be... They used to be best buddies until Tyrael fell off a little bit, especially after the nerfs to Justice for All, his level 1 shield talent. But still, I like all the Tyraels we've seen today looked extremely good. And although KT wasn't able to win game 1, Tyrael's fault it was definitely not. And even in that series before with that Judgment, aggressive Tyrael playstyle, it really highlights and shows how flexible and, you know, diverse that hero can be played.
So now, with Malthael and Garrosh removed, with the Garrosh especially, what is the main tank for the one? With Tyrael on the other side, perhaps more CC is once again the name of the game. Gonna start off with Arthas. I like it. If your enemy team is planning on sanking, you're gonna walk right into that sank, and they still just go straight into Maiev. No hesitations. And the Leoric coming out as well. Lots of slows for the Phoenix.
Looks like KT is confident, you know, in their battle plan. They locked in the Leoric and the Maiev immediately. And, you know, let's talk a little bit about those two heroes. Maiev, the first showing for her today, is, of course, lethal, as you said, when it comes to setting up those combos with that Warden's Cage. But Leoric, on the other hand, he's going to bully.
Reyna. Speaking of bullies. He comes in, we've waited all day for it.
Right.
Meng is giving it a second chance. He managed to win with it last time via a lot of assistance from Hugo's Thrall and from Muggle's Falstad. But he's bringing it back for another round here, and there's a lot of frontliners for him to shoot and gain those stacks on if he goes for potentially the Behemoth armor again, which he did last time.
You know, Jimmy Baby comes back into the fray. And as you said, Tetri, yesterday, we need to talk about this a little more. Yesterday was not the day of Raynor, as you said. He looked very shaky in the beginning when RPG tried to play him with a very questionable build by Loktar as well, I think. And then came Meng, won the game, but not because of Raynor, but because of a fantastic backdoor call by Thrall and Falstad. And I think then we had another Raynor game that also lost. So currently, the Jimmy, in terms of raw team fighting, in terms of raw power and impact in those games, still a lot to be desired.
In HGC China, Raynor this season is currently 1 and 2, 1 and 3, I think.
1 and 2. I think 1 and 2.
Exactly. But this time they brought it in, and, well, I believe you called it yesterday when we were talking about the Raynor. Those extra slows with Ace. What works well with them? Jaina, Arthas, Thrall, This is basically a composition built to empower Phoenix, and they just replaced Phoenix with Raider.
Exactly. So they have every single hero in their team now providing at least some sort of slows in the mid to late game, with that Earthquake, of course, affecting everyone as well. So Jainer, yeah, we could call it the Jainer Rainer. There we go. If he ends up getting his extra damage from the Ace in the hole all the time consistently on those Jaina slows, on these Arthur slows, I think Jimmy could very well have what it takes to become this unstoppable force. But first of all, TheOne, once again, I'm going to introduce them to you with Hugo on that Thrall. We see Muggle on Jaina, Meng on Rainer, Hehe on that main tank, and CJZ on the Decker Kane.
And on the right, KT, Hope on Phoenix, Timeless on Leoric, TWT on the Malfurion, Hikari on Tyrael, and Hape is playing the Maiev. And once again, looks like this is a permanent role swap, at least for the time being, or at least when they have a Tyrael in the game. We see Timeless move to the offlaner.
And that I like. It looked good in game number 1. Let's see if they can make it even better in game number 2 against that Rainer, the Jaina-Rainer combo. It is going to be a scary thing to face, because once again, Ace in the hole here has been locked. 30% bonus damage, not just on his basic attacks, on every single ability that delivers damage by the Rainer, as long as the enemy target is slowed or stunned.
And that is going to combo, as we've already said, super well with, well, everything that they do have here. And this is interesting. I can't tell if this is just a throwaway draft, or whether they're actually throwing stats. They could throwing out stats they could use in the playoffs in a match that doesn't matter. I've just realized that that's the case. That could be the case here for TheOne, that they're actually just straight up showing everything due to how confident they feel, just for the sake of extra practice, which is 100% viable as well.
I think so too. Like right now, they're considering it as a meaningful scrim. Let's put it this way: every scrim is probably meaningful, every practice game, but this one in particular, because it's a little more, it's a little more serious because of the points they could probably still get or lose. But yeah, I think so too, Tetra. I think this is basically a nice round of practice for maybe, the Jimmy getting that value, Meng getting put a little bit under pressure by Timeless there on that Leoric. And as you said, Timeless on that offlaner role once again finds Hehe in a bush, drops the Drain Hope onto him and gets to safety thanks to Wraithwalk. And Hugo, by the way, once again, Chinese teams, man, they still love their Crash Lightning, don't they?
On this map especially, and who can blame them? It just sort of works here.
Yeah.
Especially when you are have such a control-y and sustain-y comp like that Arthas with a Decade with you. That's going to be helpful. The biggest issue for them right now is going to be the fact that Leoric is going to give Arthas a pretty rough day.
Yeah, and it's so cool to see the consistent, threat that TheOne is trying to build up here. By forcing this early mercenary fight around the healing pulse, they're basically forcing KT to deal with this or let it go. If they force it, then Hugo is going to have a magnitude of time to actually stack up the Crash Lightning. If they ignore it, well, they're going to walk away with a pretty significant item, pretty significant objective. For now, though, looks like KT has added up, and they're about to go in.
They're moving in, diving for the damage here. Hugo moves into the corner to try and avoid some of this damage as he is dropping low. Jimmy, though, is bringing the pain. Here comes the explosion. Tyrael they take down Raider, they take down Arthas. Hugo escapes. The healing pulse is stolen in the night by Thrall, and that ends up being a 2-for-2.
Yeah, so minor victory actually for TheOne here, because they did trade evenly, that's correct, but they walked away with the item, right, with the healing pulse. That's ultimately all that matters in that early engagement. Also, Hugo, he ended up getting a couple of stacks on his Crash Lightning. It's a nice bonus, the icing on the cake. And Rainer already going for fight or flight at level 4, so ignoring the Behemoth armor, Tetra is going to be very sad about the infinite stacking no longer being applied here. But, of course, the in-combat healing and the armor is going to be very, very useful from that talent.
Boo and hiss, how dare you pick the most popular and viable talent. As we do see Muggle retreating, taking all the shots by Muggle. Arsenal synergy for the blow-up. Tyrael, though, snipes actually the kill with Smite, so KS, as we see Hugo retreating out. Kill secured.
In other games of this genre, people might have actually rage quit over something like that. But hey, we're playing Heroes of the Storm, so we ain't nobody have time for that.
XP shared. You ain't getting any of that in this game. because it's the better idea. As we see the lane being cleared up in the bot lane by Arthur. It's actually not clearing up. He's not demounting. He actually stays preparing to do this. Hi, guys. Moves in from behind. He looking for a nice engagement. He has to turn onto Hape, though. They're holding the contestant. He's the only one on the point, though, but with Decker down, that's a lot of sustain gone. Tyrael, they need to split to make sure the explosive doesn't gain value, but it actually does still hit onto two members. Here comes the Pulse, seeing as with Decker down, this is all their sustain. Down goes Jaina. Hape picking up kill after kill, and there goes Arthur's good pull-in. Hape just does not give up, very nearly pulling off the full team wipe, but decides not to dive.
And TheOne, they're currently struggling, you know, in this game. First of all, ZJZ had a little bit of a mispositioning there. He was actually caught by the increased roots, or by the empowered roots here, having a longer root duration and also a bigger radius to cover. So, beautiful talent adjustment here by KT's Malfurion player. And, you know, if they don't take these fights cleanly, if they don't protect the backline as well, because so far, especially Muggle and that Jaina has had a really rough time, they're going to end up falling over and over again.
And if they start layering those deaths on top of each other, KT are going to begin to snowball. But already, what a defense coming in here from TheOne, putting so much pressure onto this Punisher. It's only managed to get the front wall. Muggle is starting to feel some deja vu here as he goes down once again. This Phoenix, Hope's Phoenix has always been terrible. Terrible? Wow, that is not the word I was looking for. Terrifying is the word I was looking for. Thanks, Braid. That was potentially the worst mess up I've done. As we see,
no worries, I won't tell Hope you said that. Nobody's going to tell him.
Good to know. As we see the terrifyingly good Hope doing so much work. He's always been terrifying on this hero, but this game he's already turning it up.
Yeah, absolutely true. Now, on the bright side, though, for TheOne, you know, they're quite far behind in XP by now, but all the forts are still standing, and it looks like this healing pulse is now going over into the hands and falling into the hands of KT, and already with that level 10 advantage. Look at the roots, though. Calm and collected. ZJZ is trying to steal the turret. Is he going to get away, though? Conveyor belt for the win. Hugo needs to be careful. Gets pulled back into the roots and ends up falling there, buddy. TheOne. Oh my goody goodness. What is happening?
It's going well for him. It's 8 kills to 3 at 6 minutes right now, with KT with the heroic advantage. Right now, they're just kind of upset and objective isn't available, so they can snowball this more. Now they have to go back to lanes and see if they can just find members of TheOne to just keep picking off and extend their lead even further. But finally, TheOnes have their level 10s. This is where they can start to try and make a comeback.
Yeah, and this is really where they need to show up now. They have a couple of tools available that are going to be very useful. The Rainer's Raider is locked in for Jimmy here, by the way. So he's summoning Benny the Banshee pilot and trying to deal additional damage onto the members of KT. Keep in mind, the Banshee's damage also gets affected by Ace in the Hole. So the moment the targets are slowed, which is pretty much going to be the case all the time, the Banshee's going to hit extra hard.
So is the Banshee affected by every buff that happens to Rainer?
I don't think he has any more buffs to his attack damage per
no,
se.
I mean, like, say, Deckard activates his extra bonus damage. Will that affect the Banshee?
Yes, of course.
If Rainer is stim droned, will that affect the Banshee?
That is a good question. I do not know.
Okay, fair enough. We try to metagame.
I would say
the Banshee,
so, though, because it counts as a summon, right? And summons are normally, you know, as long as it says hero only, Banshee doesn't get affected. As long as it says allies, Banshee gets affected. Okay, so Stim Drone probably not. Bloodlust probably. Bloodlust definitely. Stim Drone very likely no. Okay, fair enough. We're with theory crafting here. With theory crafting, as Meng does pull back at least a little bit, doesn't want to get himself in trouble, and the Banshee does survive. Banshee can't use Fountain, we know that much, since it didn't actually fly in that direction. Holy Ground trying to cut off Hugo from his escape route, definitely cuts off Hihi, at least for the time being, but nice route by Hugo, giving Hihi the chance to escape, dodging the tether at least for the moment. They're chasing him down, a lot of damage is dealt. Hihi now low on mana and health, needs to be careful. Yeah, Time was, by the way, not going for Entomb, so for a moment I thought, you know, with the Wraith Walk there, it looked like he was trying to go for a trap. And put them into there. But because the March of the Black King has been used, that was no longer an option, obviously. So yeah, once again, Banshee doesn't count as a heroic target like Misha would for Rexar, for example. It's more like a water elemental. It also has very similar controls. The only big difference, of course, being that it can fly over terrain, and it lasts permanently until destroyed. Yeah.
People upset the scouting drone was removed, but guess what? You got a flying scouting drone that follows you around forever, but it just doesn't reveal stealth rip. As we do see the turret picked up here by TheOne. They want to use this to try and contest. They're also soaking for level 13. However, nice little raid on the healing pulse coming in here for KT, giving themselves the best fight chance for this objective because they do want to cap it. And with even talents, they knew TheOne would attempt to make the play. So they want to give themselves the best possible fighting situation with double healing pulses.
Yeah, double healing pulse. Good luck trying to crack that defense. So unless they find someone in a completely awkward spot for KT, I don't think TheOne is going to be able to punch through that. However, they do have 2 turrets themselves. So maybe if they force out an early healing pulse and then perhaps someone else here, that could be their fight to look for. Meng already keeping a safe distance from Hape on that Maiev. He realized that is the one dangerous hero he needs to be on the lookout for.
Nice root on 2 members, but no one's in position because Timeless is in the backline. Ominous wraithing, doing so much work. Hihi is absorbing a lot of damage though, and creating a great distraction from Timeless as they pick him off. Nice snipe by the Jada here as they turn back around and move to the objective.
Why didn't they use a healing pulse? I don't understand. They're keeping those items and they're not going to even get benefit from it. Now they're using 1. Okay, so they can maybe still hold it and contest it. Control goes back over to TheOne, so they have a little bit of time left. KT, that is. They can definitely wait for Leoric to reappear. You know, there's moments in Hold That Thought. Hape is going for another engagement. Double tether into roots.
Earthquake on top of Sanctification. Twilight Dream, though. Great play onto Hihi, but he's just tanking through it. Malfurion down. Have you ever had that feeling where you silence a Lich King and he shrugs it off? As he just shreds the backline and the front line indiscriminately as they go for Timeless for another round. Full team wipe by TheOne.
Ladies and gentlemen, the beast has been unleashed. TheOne is taking lives left, right, and center. And that's what happens when you focus on an Arthas and you don't bring him down in time. Let's take another look at that. Hape, with a good engage by the Maiev, actually tethers too. The early Sanctification, though, not really getting a whole lot. Just like TWT's Twilight Dream, actually completely whiffing for the most part. And look at Jaina's damage. Look at Jamie in the bottom, unleashing all that damage onto the permanently slow targets. He is having a heyday.
So good. He was left completely uncontested, and that is where Raider, we've already said, could have some issues. He's incredibly weak to dive these days, but this case, he was not even slightly under harassment, so he was able to just get full freedom and just decimate everyone from KT. Decimate's the wrong word. Decimate means taking a tenth of something away. I don't know what taking an entire of something away.
Annihilate.
Annihilate's a fantastic one as we see the Protector getting filled up. We're having a quick member swap here as they begin to move their way through the top lane.
All right, 16 is here soon for KT, so that is definitely going to be very helpful for them to maybe fight back this Protector a little more. They're trying really hard to defend this, but they should have realized that this is basically a lost cause, so they now need to rotate alongside that Protector. The towers are definitely going to fall. Maybe they can save that middle fort, though. In the meantime, we see Jaina battling off Leoric in the bottom lane.
So we see them pushing forward, front wall already down, so yet another fort is now vulnerable. 33 seconds, 47% health left on this Protector as they begin slowly creeping forward. The Protector actually going to drop a shield and do some protecting for this push, and now holds on to it. They begin burning down this fort. Might actually have it on cooldown here. Pulls back as it lost a lot of health.
They need to be so careful.
There's the shield.
They need to be so careful. Like, if this Protector ends up falling and Maiev goes for these engages that Hape has been going for the entire game, then he could tether 2 people immediately, one of them being Decker Kane. And if the healer dies, the rest of TheOne is very likely going to follow suit if they end up fighting still. Now we see Hihi becoming tankier and tankier with that level 16 Death Coil upgrade. The more health he's lost, the more he's going to heal.
And now, with TheOne rotating across the lanes with a full level lead. They were a little bit behind earlier on in the game, but now they have brought it back. Looking real good here as they begin to just clean out mercenaries and prepare to probably defend mid lane because it's super low and KT might try and sneak it while they're on even talents.
Yeah, he sees that though. He sees the entire mercenary camp process or progress also by KT. However, Jaina is still in the bottom lane. Thrall's in the top lane. I don't even think they're trying to contest it. And why would they, right? Why should they? KT had 2 healing pulses, lost the team fight. Why would they worry about 1?
Very true indeed. Pull in onto Hehe, root just off center, so Hehe able to back out. Jaina decides she just no longer wants to be at the enemy base in bot lane anymore, pulls back because Phoenix is rotating down and she is getting deja vu.
Hehe posturing up in the middle to intercept the rotation by KT. He's trying to split the team in half. Good dodge by Hape though on the Maiev. Tyrael wants to make that reinitiation happen. Look at that damage by Jimmy though. He's chipping down Tyrael with the help of his Banshee.
Quick bolt to the warden is
Ellie.
always good for a save here. Good route by Thrall. Sets up that kill. Quick setup and execute as they take down another 4. And He's not done. Looks for an opportunity. Can't find one yet. Timeless though, on his way down, realizing his team might be in trouble because tier 2s are about to be harassed.
Yeah, Timeless of course is trying his hardest to keep up the soak, right? Because as you said, Tetra, 20 is going to be around the corner for the 1 and still quite a mile away for KT to pull even. So yeah, they're cool with basically losing the fort here. Maybe they could balance it out in the top lane. Nope, Mongol is already here to defend it.
Single Storm Bolt into a Cone of Cold. The sleep has been dropped here. They're picking up another kill. Hikari will go down him. Not entirely sure what even killed him, but they got him. As Hehe surviving thanks to potions. Timeless coming in to help, but realizing that potions just too much for this skeleton. Decides that he no longer wants to be here. Gonna get a little bit of damage. Might even have to march if he wants to live here. He does, but he marched from too far away.
Oh, that is so bitter. That is so bitter for KT right now. Not only did they lose their entire front line, they also dropped another healing pulse, or not really dropped it, but they wasted it for the most part. And then Leoric with that cooldown blow on there as well. 30 seconds till he comes back, but he should have it ready for that next major engagement. Look at that, the 1. They're not trying to waste any time. They're knocking on the door, and they're trying to make it happen.
Nice route onto Phoenix, but he's not dead yet. Able to pull back.
Absorbing the keep shots.
Dodge. And yeah, the Banshee's still pretty healthy, actually, even with absorbing all those keep shots. It has a lot of health. Good Umbral Bind, but not enough to actually lock anyone down. Here comes the salvo, though, but there's no more slows applied on anyone except Hehe, but Hehe is just tanking through. Uses the actual Warden's Gauge to give himself an escape route as they just wreck the members of KT, killing off the Maiev and the Malfurion. ZJ, I'm pretty sure ZJ said actually just got the sleep onto Phoenix via being pushed in range of him via Holy Ground. But either way, full team wipe, nicely done, and this is going to be a key.
The synergy between Muggle and ZJZ on the support was immaculate, waiting for the ice block to expire and already having a potion on top of it, so Jaina would get that juicy heal right the moment she was unfrozen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, could be it. 24 seconds until Leoric ends up spawning. The death timers are too long, and it looks like the pepper has been given. And Jimmy, with that first game in which he truly dominates, is going to take down the game, the core, the life of KT.
Oh, Reina never even attacked the core. He just really wanted to kill Timeless again. Finally, he's going to start attacking the core. The Banshee returns, and they are going to burn this down. I hope no one has sensitive sinuses because the pepper has arrived. As that is GG, TheOne. Take game number 2, the full 3 points, and, well, they're at the top of the table. Simple as that. They will be #1 seed going into the playoffs.
Untouchable, I think, is the one word that describes TheOne the best. They haven't dropped a single series. True, they did have a few draws, I think 2 or 3 in the entire phase, but they haven't lost a single game 0-2. Yesterday, it got very close against Beyond the Game, and only with the power of the boss were they able to recover. Today, KT looked good. I gotta give it to them. But in the end, that full slow composition to empower the Rainer, it just looked absolutely fabulous.
Exactly. The pepper was given. The Rainer, it struggled a little bit in the early game.
In the early
game from KT was really good. They killed Jaina so many times. I was like, Meg, are you okay? Because they just chased him down repeatedly over and over again in both series. But they were able to stabilize in TheOne. Their team fight second. They had the frontliners to protect those squishy backliners. They were in full control.
And once again, major kudos to Hehe on that Arthas. The amount of damage he absorbed in that game, with the help, of course, of Decker Kane and his boys, but the amount of tankiness he had, accumulated in that game was absolutely insane. With that army, later on with the cell field, with the improved cell field, the Icebound Fortitude, it was just amazing how much space he created and how long he basically distracted the enemy team so that Jaina and Jimmy could shine in the late game.
Could not agree more. And with all those slows being applied, like we already said, it was a Phoenix comp. That's all it was, just replacing the Phoenix with a Raider, and it worked absolutely beautifully. And if there was ever a composition for Hehe to just start playing Arthas again, this is it. This works.
It could be very well the time, Tetra. And I just want Meng to become MVP here because I want to see how much damage he dealt in that game. I want to see how much of a carry he really was, or whether, you know, Jimmy did okay, but the hidden gems, if you will, were actually someone like Jaina, for example, or Arthas. But I really want him to become the MVP to see the damage dealt.
I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. But either way, to continue the Reina puns here, it was nice to see Hehe back on that that seasoned hero Arthas, who just hasn't seen that much value recently, just outside of the 2 games Hehe has played. Although that does mean that Hehe now has a 100% win rate on Arthas this season, and it's not over 1 game anymore, so that's good.
Yeah, the sample size is increasing.
For the win.
It was just so cool to see. And also, I think we have started to see the change of mindset from those Reina players in China, shying away from that Hyperion, which had been picked earlier all the time. And now with the second game of the Banshee, we finally see the true value of it. Not only in terms of extra damage, right? The Banshee offers so much more. It can be used as a vision tool. You can drop it on impassable terrain otherwise and just keep the vision going. You can use it as a distraction to intercept keep shots, for example, which we've also seen very useful if you want to siege up. So yeah, a jack of all trades, you want to call that. And if you control it well and you basically prevent it from dying and you let it heal up again, it's always going to be there.
So that means the TheOne are guaranteed to be going to the Eastern Clash. Wonderful thing is that format. That means that they're going to join the other team who is guaranteed to go. This is not like an auto-qualify thing, but it means that they're at least in the top 3 of their region and cannot be pushed out of it. That is Tempest. Tempest are unassailable at the top of the table. Gen G can overtake them at the end, so in theory the Orcas, both EU, all 3 EU, Korea, and NA use an auto-qualify spot for the team with the highest points at the end of each phase. So it is fair for Gen G to overtake Tempest there, but either way, you're still #1 spot in the playoffs, even if that does happen. So no matter what, I believe it is confirmed that Gen G or Tempest are going through in first place.
I think Tempest has already been confirmed on Heroes Esports tweet. Like they showed their logo, welcome to the Eastern Clash, yada, yada, yada.
Yes, well, they're, like I said, they're 100% going to the Eastern Clash, but Gen G can overtake them in the last 2 days.
That might be true.
Last 2 weeks, sorry. Because which also includes the versus of them. That's actually happening this Sunday, if anyone is curious. It's the final game of HGC,
going to be a highlight.
HGC Korea. This of HGC Korea's week, because they still have 1 week after this. That's going to be this Sunday, and it's going to be pretty good. Game number 2. I am super excited. The other really important game is going to be happening next week, which is going to be Blossom versus Miracle, which might actually decide which team might be going. Well, it's not going to decide it because the playoff system, of course, but it's going to be a huge indicator of which is the 4th team that might be going to the Eastern Clash.
Yeah. Just we were so curious about Jimmy's damage and how much value and impact he had in that game. They give it over to ZJZ, but you know what? Well deserved. A couple of clutch saves here and there, especially in the late game against Jaina, or on the Jaina, when she was popping the ice block, and just after she was released, there was already a warm potion waiting for her. Super nice to see.
So in terms of maths, I believe I've worked out that means that no matter what, Super Perfect Team, and the TheOne, Tempest, and Gen G are unknockoutable of the top 4, so they are at least going to the Eastern Clash, if my maths is correct.
Yeah, correct as well, though, right? Because they're going to go 3rd place, and even if they lose their first one,
can technically overtake them and can technically tie with them and keep them tied
BTG?
3rd, 4th, which means it's possible. BTG can, yeah. If they beat, if BTG beat SPT 2-0, and the ones somehow and CE lose 2-0 to RPG, it's possible for them to tie.
All right, that would be a sick scenario, of course, yet a very unlikely one, especially with CE looking so dominant earlier. How are they supposed to drop a map to RPG? But, you know, RPG have done crazier things in the past, so never count them out.
Also, it's China. many crazier things have happened consistently throughout mine and Kendrick's wonderful time casting this region together. And of course, this only means that we're halfway done, ladies and gentlemen. The match that we talked about that could be the decider of whether CE do get to go to the Eastern Clash guaranteed, or whether they're going to have to fight for their chance, will be coming up after the break. It is SPT versus BTG. If BTG takes a 2-0, then CE, all they have to do is take a single map against RPG. If SPT win a single map, then, well, RPG can perhaps ruin the... if BTG take a 2-0... No, wait, if SPT take a single map, then CE are in third place, guaranteed. Maps is hard.
All right, Tiger's going to walk us through the replay section here yet again. Oh, looks like he's pulling off a Nova here.
Oh no!
The magic? Can he make it
work? Magician!
Oh.
Okay, they did it! By the power of using a mouse, they have managed to do it. As we jump to game number 1.
Yeah, this time we're not going to take that much of a look on the drafts, I feel, because they were pretty much standard, especially in game number 1. Maybe we're going to highlight the symbiosis and the strength of the second draft coming in from the 1. But of course, we do not know what Tiger has in store for us yet. This is very much at the end of the game here already. The keep had been destroyed. And this, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the minimap here, I wish we could actually zoom in onto the minimap here. If you're a KT, you are with your backs against the wall. Why? Because the bottom boss is available. And as you guys all know, that boss is going to push in that bottom lane. So although you're not 16, and although you just took a lot of damage, you need to show up at that boss. You need to contest it, especially if you realize that there's so much PvE damage going on from the 1. Hanzo, Jaina, they're going to clear that in no time. So already Tyrael, instead of going over for the middle lane, actually they can go through the middle because they can also expect a gank in the bottom, right? So go through the middle and go straight to the boss. So you have someone there without falling into this trap as Tiger's highlighting of the 1.
And the 1, like you said, this trap is good. KT, I don't believe they do fall into it because...
No, they don't.
They just go for the boss, as you already said. I like that KT are playing that safer play. I just wouldn't mind if Dahaka was getting more done in the top lane. That's the biggest issue I have with KT's reaction play at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole team, the team as a whole, they needed to be there a little faster. Also, Dahaka, of course, as you mentioned, he's so pivotal. He's so important in those late game boss fights because, of course, most importantly, his isolation. If that lands on a Tyrael, for example, he can't use the holy ground. He can't even contest it anymore. So yeah, many tools available for KT. If only they had been there a little faster. But once again, as Tiger highlights, this route, the fastest route through the bottom, should not be the course of action because they have to expect a gank from the 1. So go through the middle.
Which they did do. They did technically go through the watchtower range, though, which is the wonderful point that the 1 were able to take this. And, well, it was very difficult for KT to rotate any other way. You can see they're all walking through this watchtower area. They're all funneling in 1 at a time. And then when the boss is taken, they commit, saying, okay, so we either have to defend 5v5 with the boss on core, because the keep's already dead, or we fight them now and hope we can clear them and then take the boss. They're on even talents. I like that this was the play, but a little bit of patience might have been nice to actually wait for everyone to show up. Dahaka's on the way, but Phoenix, look at him. He's miles away.
Yeah, Phoenix is way too slow, and also beautiful scouting by the 1. You know, using the sonic arrow from Hanzo. You know, this is the only angle that KT's Timeless is probably going to join them in from. So by having that vision early on, you can actually pin him down. You can prevent him from getting any value. And from there on out, it's just a disaster for KT.
And there with the shots onto Timeless. Timeless does fall pretty quick. He's able to survive longer than I expected, actually. Once again, due to very nice use of Burrow, I believe, if I remember correctly, which I almost certainly don't, because I'm terrible at remembering things. We can see the go for the throat is highlighted here, and I don't actually think Greymane even gets a kill, though, even with it.
Like, even if they end up getting a kill...
By the way, on the minimap.
Yeah, the moment they lose people here as well, the core is going to be open. The Greymane is yet too far away. Like, all the damage dealers basically are too far away to capitalize on that CC or the engagement coming in from Hikari and Timeless.
Look at Murden's positioning on the minimap. He's wrapped all the way around, and surprise, TWT positions himself. Haymaker, hey! Right next to his team. It's so close for the rest of the ones to be able to just immediately blow him up. Instead, they have to pull out the Dragon Arrow to have a chance of blowing up TWT. It lands. They do get him in the end, but it's a little not as close as they would have hoped it would be.
And if you look at Grayman, by the way, he's tunnel visioning on the Malfurion. He successfully drove him back, but they forgot about the fact that, you know, if you don't have your main DPS there, if you don't have the blow-up potential, you couldn't even threaten anyone else. So the trade is good for the One, because the boss at this point is basically a ticking time bomb. And Hope not even getting the kill onto ZJZ and instead actually getting killed by the Fort and the Malfurion is a disaster. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, you can see here Hape in serious trouble. ZJZ just chases him down at this point. Yeah. The turnaround sleep was good. Even after getting Haymaker, DWT turning around with that sleep, Muradin dying was also a absolutely huge deal here. Was really fantastic for KT, which allowed them to take it. Not a terrible fight here.
Yeah, the fight looked okay, but here comes Meng, by the way. He should still have his Ice Block available, so he's baiting all the attention onto him. Look at the Emerald Cube. Boom, Ice Block is going to cleanse him off that. In the meantime, Muggle, as you said, I think during the cast, scatter shots galore, and he was cleaning house.
I really like that. I'm pretty sure this is the fight where ZJZ, like I believe you mentioned earlier. Oh no, it's not the one where he gets he gets the Twilight Dream onto Phoenix a little bit later on. Stage dive. They put, I will say, against the One here, they put a lot too much focus onto Decker Kane. I know he's important, but I feel that too much focus is a bad thing, because now Muggle is 1v1 against two members here. He survives because he's Hanzo. He has a wall power, and ZJZ ends up frontlining here. Hope's able to do just enough damage to set up for the Tyrael kill.
Boom. Gets one, doesn't get two. If only he had been a little more patient, but of course he didn't have the vision on Tyrael. I think if he let Tyrael come a little closer to there, he silences two and gets 2 kills as well. So that was our first highlight, and I think it really shows how important timing and map awareness is in those late game fights, especially when that next boss in that lane would mean certain GG, because the keep had been destroyed earlier.
Certain GG is one of my favorite terms. I have not heard that one before, but I like it. Here we can see Tyrael being highlighted. He already has Holy Ground online and also Sanctification. So the ability to move in. Wait, no, Holy Ground 16 now?
13.
Am I getting confused? No, it's 13. Cool. Thanks, Brain. Why do I doubt myself sometimes? Because I make mistakes. That's
It's gotta sound confident. Nobody's gonna question you.
Exactly. I'm British. Everyone believes everything I say. Because the British, in fact, do. It is a well-known field study that the British accent is absolutely the most convincing one in the world. See, just lied to you, and at least some of you probably believed me. As we see, Leoric, a couple seconds out, of course, Leoric much quicker at coming back after these deaths. But all the main fighting heroics are available for KT. This is when they are, in fact, almost a level ahead.
This is where they had double healing
in theory,
pulse?
be a home run.
This is where they had double healing pulse? I don't think so.
Well, I think they've already used one by this point. No, does Phoenix have the other one?
No, I think that one was before, but it's once again Hikari not utilizing this healing pulse. Like, drop it here. Boom. Protect Hape, protect everyone else, so you're not going to have to be, you know, you don't actually risk getting pushed out, pulled out again. And look at Timeless. Actually, he's getting revived there as well, so he would also benefit from a healing pulse there. But Hikari being a little too patient, being a little too scared of using those healing pulses in time. Like, use it now. Boom. Too late.
Yep. Still not using it. Still not using it. Still not using it.
And now he's using
Finally, it goes down. But like you said, Mouth's dead. Maev isn't even in that healing pulse. She's nearly dead. Timeless is currently March of the Black Kinging through the entire backline of the One, which is quite fantastic, going to be honest. But again, you're not going to achieve anything from that. Maybe you'll drop them low. For who? Hope hasn't got a single hope of moving back in without putting himself in danger. It is a far too risky move.
Yeah, like, right now, he's just dropping it to not drop it to the enemy team. Like, he's using it so he wouldn't drop it to the enemy team, and that is normally not how you want to engage a winning team fight.
And there we go. Hape actually went down in the end anyway. Very nicely done. As we see here, game number 2 taken by the One. 2-0 in their favor. They are very secure at the top of the table. We still have 3 more series to go, ladies and gentlemen, and this next one could decide who might be in 2nd place, who might be in 3rd, and who might be in 4th, depending on what kind of score ratio we see. It is SPT versus Beyond the Game. Join us for that after the break.